I have an unusual job. The pay is good, but the moaning, that I could do without. So there I was, sitting on my sun porch, across from a woman who looked like she hadn't worked a day in her life. She was nearly 30, but her chest looked about 3. Definitely maintained. Pretty in the way expensive things usually are. She stared at me, wide-eyed and lip-bitten, like she wanted me to believe she was innocent. And she started with this line. My husband died a month ago, but I don't think he's really gone. Now I've heard worse. Hell, I've done worse. So I lit a cigarette, exhaled away from her face to be polite, and listened. It started, she said, with small things. Raymond's favorite sweater showing up in places it shouldn't be. Nothing scary, just weird. Then it escalated. Every time she, let's say, got intimate with herself, something would bang on the door. Loud, sudden, every time. And when she stopped, it stopped too. She flushed pink when she told me that. I asked if she was alone in these moments or with someone else. She admitted it was solo work, called it jilling. Cute. She said it always felt like Raymond, always watching, always interrupting. I asked if she was sure it wasn't just guilt. She hesitated. Then she told me about last night. I was in bed, she whispered, and I heard breathing. Not mine, from the other side of the room. Her voice trembled and her eyes begged me to believe her. I didn't need to. I already knew the truth. So I poured her some tea. Bitter, but effective. I told her to drink if she wanted answers. And as she sipped, I spoke. I told her how Raymond died, a hit and run, right outside their house. I told her how she ran through the house, praying it wasn't him. But it was. And as she knelt beside his mangled body at 7:13 p.m., she realized her life had just split into a before and after. Her hands shook. Her eyes went glassy. You never told me it was at sunset, she said. I never said it was a car accident. That's when I laid it out. You killed him, Cindy. You ran him down in your own driveway. You rinsed the blood off the car before anyone could think to check. You thought it was clean. You thought no one knew. But Raymond did. And as he died, lungs crushed, ribs shattered, he didn't hate you. He didn't curse you. He just stared, confused. He wondered what he did wrong. He thought it was his fault. She was pale now, lips trembling. I was careful, she whispered. No, I said. People are just stupid. That's why you've gotten away with it. For now. She asked how I knew about the money. $619,138 in a briefcase. I didn't answer. Instead, I told her the truth about the tea. Oleander. Poisonous. Effective. She panicked, gripping the table so hard the cup rattled. What did you do to me? I ground out my cigarette in the empty cup and looked her dead in the eye. Make peace with whatever God or devil is waiting. That's when Raymond arrived. He was a mess, broken body, one eye intact. The other? Jelly. His jaw was gone, tongue dangling like a dead slug. But somehow he looked peaceful, like he'd been waiting for this. She started to seize, frothing, gasping. Her body flailed like it wanted to escape itself. Raymond knelt beside her, brushing her cheek. Gentle, almost loving. For a moment, I think she looked back at him. Then, she stopped moving. Raymond turned to me. His lone eye gleamed with something like gratitude. I told him I'd leave her body in the garden, right by the oleander I planted weeks ago. No one would question it. Alabama's full of the stuff. He gestured again. Floppy arm, half their fingers. I leaned over her corpse and saw it. A ring. Dozens of diamonds. I took it, slid it on my finger, fit like it was made for me. I accept tips, I said. Raymond smiled. Or at least, I think he did. And me? I lit another cigarette and took a long drag. My name is Patricia Barnes, and I'm a hitman for ghosts only I can see. When I first saw her standing outside my window, gripping garden shears with that maniacal look on her face, I froze. The burn on my face didn't hurt anymore. Everything had gone numb. Just moments ago, I was relieved. The imposter neighbors were gone, And I thought I'd found a friend in Derek. But in an instant, it all vanished. Just like the leaves from my shrubs. Why would Prudence do this? Every possibility ran through my mind. Maybe Terry had told her something. Maybe Ian the postman saw Derek and said something. I didn't know. But there was one burning question. How did she know? Then I saw her collapse onto the memorial bench, sobbing into her hands, surrounded by the destruction she'd caused. I ran down, not knowing what I'd say. "Prudence!" was all I managed. She turned, rage twisting her wrinkled face. "You evil, stupid little girl. Do you know what you've done?" I fired back. "You got my boyfriend killed and left that useless note. And what about your own? Don't you dare talk about her!" she screamed, falling to her knees. I calmed myself and asked how she found out about the garden. She handed me a crumpled note. It was from Derek. I couldn't exist knowing what I'd done. She was never theirs to begin with, but I have to end her suffering. It hit me immediately. Lila, or whatever was left of her, was gone. Derek had killed her. Prudence whispered, "This is all your fault." That cut deeper than the burn on my face, but I couldn't let her blame me. She was living in a cage, eating scraps like an animal. She wasn't living, Prudence. But her guilt turned into twisted justification. She had me. That's all she needed. Prudence finally told me the full truth. She had knowingly made a deal with Derek to bring Lila back, despite knowing the consequences. Lila had become something not human, but Prudence loved her anyway, even after Derek tried to end the abomination. She hid Lila until the bulldozers came. I tried reasoning, but it turned into a screaming match. She wasn't just angry. She was losing her grip. Then I saw it. Eddie and Ellie from the window, waving, pointing behind me. Too late. The scraping of shears on the pavement. Prudence was charging. I ran. Doors slammed shut around me. No one wanted to face her. I pounded on doors, begging for help. I made it to Terry's flat. Just before I passed out from panic, I noticed something odd. The quiet. Where had Prudence gone? Terry let me in. Eddie and Ellie hugged me tight. I told her everything, and she was horrified, and no one had known about Lila. That night, everything changed again. I returned to my flat, exhausted. Something felt wrong. Then she came out of the kitchen, Prudence, holding a carving knife. She smiled, jingling my keys in her hand. "I'll kill you," she whispered. She grabbed me. I reacted fast, swung my head back and smashed her nose. Blood poured as we both dove for the knife. She was quicker. I bolted for the hallway, but not before she stabbed me, deep in my side. I ran. Pain shot through me, but I had one idea. Mr. Prentice, flat 48. I banged on his door, shouting for help, and he answered. Not as a man, but a monster, some mix between a bull and a wolf. He charged. I heard her bones crunch before I lost consciousness. When I woke in the hospital, my parents and the police were there. A neighbor claimed 2 men had mugged us, attacked Jamie, and drove off with him. It was a lie, but one I clung to. At least they wouldn't suspect the truth. The police never found the car. They never will. They called it a mugging. I'd been stabbed 4 times, shallow wounds, but I lost a lot of blood. My burns, blamed on chemicals. Jamie, still officially missing. After I was discharged, my parents begged me to move, but I couldn't. I had to go back. The building, it felt like home. Mr. Prentice greeted me casually, like nothing had happened, as if he hadn't trampled a woman to death. "You've got a real friend in the lady downstairs," he said. It confirmed everything had been real. Terry brought me my bag, smiled, and told me she'd found me lying beside Prue's body. She said she saw what happened when she came up to return it. Prudence's body, gone. She was eating it, Terry said, pointing to flat 48. It's been a few days. I've stayed. I even tried planting a new garden, but something's been haunting me. The joy in Prue's face when she had Lila back. That smile, even if twisted. So last night, I did it. I performed the ritual again. And now I hear the scratching. Jamie's back. I sat there in stunned silence, unable to believe it had worked. It felt too easy. But Derek was here. His soft eyes and gentle expression eased something in me. White hair poked out beneath his flat cap, glowing in the moonlight. "That's a lovely little patch you've planted," he said. "I used to take care of the last garden here. I can look after this one if you like." All I could say was, "We need you." The weight of everything came crashing down. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt like I wasn't alone. "My name's Kat, flat 42. His face softened. "So Prudence is gone?" "She is, but the whole building's a mess. People are suffering." We talked for hours under the night sky. He told me he used to see the building as a living garden, each resident a plant in his care. I told him everything: Jamie, the cultists, the twins. He listened, really listened. When I sobbed, he held me, and when I said Prudence was the only one who knew how to stop the imposters, he looked doubtful. That gave me hope. Without warning, he asked me to follow him. We stopped at the lift. "It's 12:32, he said before I could check my watch. "You're safe." Even knowing the time, my body shook when the doors opened. All I could see was Jamie's mangled body from the night we lost him. "I can't," I whispered. "You need to see something," he insisted. "I won't let anything happen to you." I trusted him, maybe more than anyone. So I stepped in. Inside, he turned me toward the button panel. "What's wrong with it?" he asked. I looked, counted. Everything was there, except it wasn't. Floor 9 didn't exist. I was sure I had just seen it, but now it was gone. Derek saw my frustration. "Take us to floor 9, he said gently. But there was no button for it. We exited the lift, and Derek finally explained. The building, he said, was alive. And when the arsonists burned an entire floor of innocent residents, the building sealed it off. A defense mechanism. That's why no one could reach floor 9. It didn't exist anymore. But the arsonists came back, asking for sugar, tricking people. Derek had tried to stop them. He discovered that they could be locked away by leading them back to the flat they claimed to be from, traps of their own design. Prudence had helped at first, but over time, she changed. Derek blamed himself for letting her get too close to power she didn't understand. She eventually led the creatures from the lift to floor 9, and she burned them. Derek left soon after that. He hadn't known what Prudence had become. "But now I'm back," he said, "and I'll fix what I left behind." "I want to help," I said. He tried to stop me, but he knew I wouldn't back down. So we climbed to floor 8, where the stairs always skipped to 10, but not this time. This time, the sign for 9 was there. We stepped into blackened ruins, scorched walls, ash-covered belongings, the smell of death in the air. Then she appeared. Natalia. "How the fuck did you get here?" she screamed. I began to burn. My skin stung, my vision blurred. I couldn't think. "Where do you live?" Derek asked her. She refused to answer. I couldn't remember either. Georgia had told me. But what number? Then as the heat seared my skin, it came to me. 71! Derek grabbed her. She clawed at him, but he didn't burn. He dragged her toward the flat. "You do it," he said. "Then leave." I pushed her inside. She screamed, punched me in the face. My skin blistered, but I didn't let go. Not until she was trapped. I lingered for a moment, watching her writhe at the invisible boundary. But Derek's look told me it was time to go. I waited on the stairwell for him, hearing the screams fade behind the sealed door. He emerged, quiet. His eyes met mine. My face burned, raw. But no words were needed. It was done. On our way down, I asked him in for tea. He smiled, said he had old friends to visit. Then he walked away and faded. With every step, he became more translucent, like smoke drifting into nothing. I ran after him, called out. But when I reached the end of the hallway, he was gone. At the memorial bench, I hoped to see him. But instead, I saw Prudence, hacking at my garden with the shears.